second time at the second day of the iFX Expo International in Limassol. We have with us Salim Sebbata, who is the Chief Commercial Officer of the EU at the GTN. Salim, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be back in beautiful Limassol.
The very sunny Limassol.
Yes.
Okay, so for years, the fintech sector defined itself by building slick front-end apps and was spending heavily on marketing to acquire clients. Your model, which is essentially built around the fact that the standalone trading app is reaching its limits. Why do you think that is the case?
The FX and CFD industry, or the trading industry, especially on the mass market scale, has been built on very few apps that have been sold to the general public or beginner investor. So the differentiation usually comes from we have amazing service, we have amazing liquidity, and we have amazing spreads. So clearly the firms that have been very successful in this industry have built their own apps and have got way more granular as to what the interaction with the customer should be. So this is GTN's edge. GTN is an investment infrastructure provider that is licensed in multiple countries around the world, UK FCA, US FINRA, MAS, Hong Kong, etc. And we have different ways for the institutional customers to interact with us. So it's a custody model. We also provide market data, tax services. So it's basically a brokerage out of the box.
One of the trends that we're observing right now is that a lot of brokers, not a lot, but there is a significant concentration to say that it is a trend. They are releasing MCP integrations, where essentially they allow an AI agent to connect to the platform.
Yes.
I'm wondering, does that have any impact on your model?
So the plumbing remains the same, right? So you still need a solid balance sheet, global custody, 90 markets, stocks, options, fractional. The whole kit has to be available for the broker to connect to us. We see the retail customer behavior changing going forward to come from a research angle to say, let me do my ChatGPT, Claude, etc. research to say what are the top 5 stocks that Warren Buffett would own or that whoever hedge fund manager would own based on the criteria. And then it still fires off an order, and that's when our ecosystem comes in. So we're very curious. We're engaging with our brokerage partners to facilitate this trading, but it's very clear that the younger generation comes at the whole investing and trading space from a very different angle, which is pretty much AI driven.
I mean, if we imagine that as a consumer facing product,
yes,
the app will take a back step and it will be in data pipeline and execution infrastructure that favors your model, right?
We have lots of APIs for customers to connect with us. And we expect way more granularity on these APIs going forward to allow mass customization for then the broker to offer to his clients. But then we still have a traditional fixed engine and front ends that we can brand, white label, etc., or trading terminals or customers come to us via Bloomberg. So there is all kinds of connection points depending on the maturity of the tech stack of our counterparty. So what have they built and how much of what they think they have built do they really have, and are they able to integrate it?
On a more personal note, you have led major retail-facing firms like Capital.com and BUX. What was it that convinced you to move into the institutional side of things?
I think for me, it's the credibility as a commercial leader to sit down with the owner or the CEO of an FX and CFD firm and to say, I was in your shoes, I was facing technical issues, I had to deal with high CACs, a lot of competition, probably, as we discussed earlier in question one, platforms that are too similar, not differentiated enough. So it's easy to say, look, if you come to our world, which is different, which has different economics, but also adds value in terms of size of accounts, ability to distribute globally, ability to market in countries where FX and CFDs are banned, suddenly a fixed income, bond, stock, ETF, and potentially listed stock option product is very attractive to that client base. And the reason to connect with GTN, it's obviously the premier infrastructure provider in the space. 90 markets, 800 people, has been around for 10 years. So it's the institutional mindset with the ability to customize and flexibly adapt the technology to what the broker needs. That's the exciting bit.
We spoke about young investors at the beginning, and I want to pull on that thread.
Yeah.
We see that the younger generation is far more willing to take risks. And that makes sense because as wealth and generation and median income have decoupled,
Yes.
they don't find putting their faith in an ETF that will have an 8% return in 5 years or 8 years that attractive.
Yes.
So how does this shift in sentiment change the kind of infrastructure you provide?
So let's just roll back and then go one level up. I know we're at iFX. We are in the active trader speculative world, but if we go look at the European market, there has been amazing work done by the neo brokers to educate the younger generation to save and invest in ETFs and in stocks. So it's an app-first millennial experience where historically it was property, cash accounts, and potentially speculative markets. Now there's a much broader stuff where the younger generation knows they have to save because of the stability of the pension system and how things will look in 20 years. So let's not discount that and say what is happening on the aggressive trading speculative hedge potentially complements the larger stock, which is what we cater for. So it's ETF, fractional, fixed income, savings, global market access. And then if people come to trade actively, be it options, be it leverage ETFs, the same infrastructure is available to the broker to provide this to their client base. So we deal with a family office, buy-side funds that have reasonably strict criteria regarding latency, quality of execution. I mean, our US execution model is rebalanced once a month where we check we are benchmarking against the rest of the market, and you do have to provide best execution. So I think the stack has to be solid enough to cater for both. Yes, if I'm a bank sitting in the stands in Armenia, etc., potentially my clients will not be super picky on the hyper latency. They say, look, I just want access to Google, Nvidia, and all kinds of stocks for $1. Very happy with this. And then others that sit inside London that need to trade emerging markets will say, actually, we need to see a speed and quality of execution. So it's both is probably the answer.
Okay. If we speculate a bit,
yes,
forget my pun. Where do you think their focus, speaking about the younger generation, will be going forward?
Where are we going with
their focus?
Yes.
Where will they focus going forward?
I still think that the dam is broken on the need to invest. So our classic client base at the moment is neobanks, neo-brokers, rolling out the multi-instrument, multi-product, multi-service app. It's very clear, penetration is there, pricing is important for them then to roll out a free or cheap offering to the retail user base. I see more development there. Germany, Netherlands, Nordics have been in the lead for these youngsters getting into investing. And now it's probably more Spain, Italy, France, where there's potentially also a movement away from a perception that stocks are speculative, stocks are high risk, is to say, fine, there will always be room for speculation. That's important, but also as a youngster, I have to keep investing for the future, and the vehicle will be stocks more conservatively and ETFs. So that's where
at the end of the day, you need a healthy diet, right?
it's really important.
Yeah.
And by all means, speculate, and there's plenty of amazing apps to place a high leverage trade with a small amount of money, with amazing outcome and an excitement, but we cater for the full bandwidth.
I want to wrap this conversation by talking about the embedded finance market, which is getting crowded. As we look toward the end of the decade, and maybe a little bit beyond that, which specific infrastructure capabilities will actually separate the market leaders and those who are just providing a basic API?
Yeah, so that's really important in terms of what are we building as a business to cater to the embedded market space. And that's where we see the investing and the brokerage business going into, is to then say, fine, we don't want to provide a very narrow set of features. We need to provide for hyper customization at the B2B2C, at the C leg of what we provide as an infrastructure. And then cost is important. So we cannot have historically an institutional view to say, well, that's how much it costs. The embedded finance provider wants to go out to the mass market via an app, via small deposits, small accounts, small transactions. So the whole tech stack has to be cost efficient to be able to then roll out to the end user. And then for us, it's still how fast can these brokers on board? How fast can we customize our infrastructure to the APIs they need? Is it fixed? Is it API? Is it FTP? So I think that's where the industry is going. It's hyper customization. And then for us, it's taking a global view. So not saying we are a monoline US player, come trade US stocks with us. We have an amazing product, but anything else we wouldn't do. Germany we wouldn't do. APAC we wouldn't do. So the GTN view is currently we have 90 markets on the ecosystem. Options, fixed income, fractional, and then we can get super granular. Like when we go into Brazil, it's more tripartite solution where a firm brings a license. We have a global custody set up out of the UK, and we can onboard in a tripartite way. So it's the flexibility from a compliance side, from an operating side, certainly from a balance sheet side, to offer more varied experiences to the same layer of the B2C relationship, B2B2C. And most importantly, we don't compete with our clients. We are not in the retail space, and we have zero appetite to be there.
Brilliant. Salim, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks a lot, Henry.